Greetings everyone. It is Sunday, March 6, 2011. You can tell by the way the market's acting that this thing wants to continue in trend mode here. This is the 10-minute chart. Here's where it closed. Here's where it opened. It's moved up. It's creating a red bar here on the 10-minute. Nothing on the daily. You can see a slight dip there in the 1-minute. I am about to take entry, checking the code. I think the code is saying a buy entry, but I'm going to wait here for a moment to see if it does not continue down lower. Let's see what the low is. The low is at 13. The low is at 13. I am going to attempt entry here, putting my order in at 15 now. Order is at 15 to buy. I believe the code says it is going to move higher, and I can tell by the way that it's moving and by what's happening that it is going to continue into this upward movement. And the way that it is doing this on a Sunday like this indicates to me that that this is going to possibly make a move here, a big move up. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like it's acting like to me, is a big move up coming. How big? I don't know. I cannot say. I may have missed the entry here. I think I did. I think it's going to continue higher now. If it does, I'm not going to chase it. I'm just going to look for another entry and look for the code to tell me that it's going to continue higher, and or take the break, assuming it's supported by the code. If it is, I'll take the break to continue higher. Otherwise, I'll be looking for another entry somewhere. Does the code still support this? No, it does not. I am canceling the order. Order canceled. Did it get me in? No, it did not. Checking the code. It's possible it is going to move down now. If so, that'll be even better because it'll give me a better entry. Checking the code. Yep, still support. It could move down. That'll be good. Here's the 10-minute. Let's get a nice little dip down to about, let's say down to about 104.80 would be real nice. Somewhere right around, 104.90, let's say, right where it started at. Get a nice dip down there on the 10-minute so we can continue an upward trend. The code will tell me where the entry is. I am going to pause the video and be back for the next entry. Pausing the video now. You can see that the price has come down to about 90, which is where I was calling it to come down to. The code has still not given a signal, which tells me that it could come down more. So I'm just waiting for the code to give me a signal. It could give me a short signal. You never know. This thing could be coming down instead of going up. I don't know that yet. I'll know when it gives me a signal. Right now, my best guess is that it's going to come down here to 60. So 104.60 is going to be the entry. But I won't know that until the code gives me a signal. So I'm just waiting right now to see if it will, which it usually always does. So no reason to believe that it won't. Just sitting here waiting, looking at the code. best guess is still 104.60, but anything could change. The code is constantly in motion. It doesn't change back and forth, but you always should be prepared for that to happen, even though it happens very rarely. Sometimes you could maybe misread the code, and then on the next reading you read it properly. So every time you read it, you get feedback from it. Constantly getting feedback to see if you're on the right trail, if you're reading the code properly. Okay, what is the low? The low is at 83. 104.83 is the low. What are we at now? 90? Watching the code here. Okay. Stand by. I'm trying to get a reading. The code is saying... Stand by. Trying to get a reading here. The secret code is saying... Stand by. Still trying to get a reading here. I am not sure. I think it's saying it's going to go up, but it's possible it could be saying it's going to go down, so I'm not sure about this one. I'm unsure at the moment, but I think it's saying it's going to go up, though. Let me take the first break up. What's the first break? The high is 94. The high is 94. So I could take that first break. When it hits 95, 96, just go ahead and buy it. If I'm right on that, it'll continue higher. Otherwise, there's 95. So I don't have to buy it now. I was going to buy it if it hit 96. Let's take a look. Because now if it goes down, that means the code was saying down, not up. And I'm unsure about that. So I could use the break higher as an entry point instead of just getting in now. Because what if the code is saying it's going to go down? Then it might just start down. I don't have to buy it then. But if it breaks higher than this high, now it's at 95, so I can buy 96. I can catch the move back up. So now I'm just going to play a waiting game. I think the code's saying it's going to go up, but I'm not sure about that. It could be saying it's going to go down. It wasn't a clear signal. I don't really want to miss this one, because if this is the bottom and it's going to go back up, it's most likely going to go back up and go break this high up here on the 10-minute or the 1-minute. Most likely. It's just going to continue to trend higher. And this was the low, and now it's going to continue to go back up. So I don't want to miss it if it does go up. Trying to read the code. Got no signal yet. I'm going to take the break. I'm going to buy 96. As soon as the price hits 96, I'm going to buy at market and get in and take the break. This will be the first initial break off of the low. I'm not sure about the code, but I am going to take a break using what I think the code said, which was up. If the code was right and it was going to go down, and I was just reading it wrong, then hopefully it'll just go down instead of go up first and catch me in, then go back down. I will get another signal here soon. I think it's going to go. Going to buy as soon as it hits 96. Okay, I am in at 97. Now I will see if I was right and whether the code said up or not. And one of the reasons why that I wanted to take this is because if it is right, it's going to continue to go higher. And what's the, even back up to the high of 105.40 is still a 43 penny trade from here. But I've got a dollar exit on this. I've got an exit at 105.7. Oh, I have a 20 penny exit on this. Let me change the exit. 104.97. I'm putting it at 105.97. 105.97. I should put that at 106.97. I really should. But I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to push it at 105.97. It's a 100 penny trade. Nothing wrong with that. 105.97. I'm applying this trade. 105.97. Applying it now. Okay, stop it, or exit is at 105.97, and the stop is currently at 104.77. We'll adjust stop here. Don't want to take a chance on these trades. Let them go, but don't take a chance. 104.98 will be the stop. Adjusting stop to 104.98. 104.98 will be the stop. Letting it get out a little bit ahead. Checking the code. What does the code say? I have no reading yet. No reading yet. Wait for it to get about 10 pennies ahead. There we go. Okay, I got my finger on the button here, just checking the code. What does it say? I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna wait for a little bit. It might dip back down. If you see on the chart, my stop will be at 104.98. Now go check the chart. 104.98 puts it right down to here. That's exactly where it would dip down to if it does dip. But see, I can, instead of just playing a guessing game, I can use the code. I have no signal yet, but I'm just watching it and waiting for a signal, and then I can use the code to see if it says, whether the code says it's going to go higher or whether the code says it's going to go lower. If I get another code signal and it says it's going to go higher, then that means that the first one was right and the second one is confirming it. so I know I have the right direction. Or I'll get another signal and it'll say go short, so I could get out of this trade and go short. But right now I think this thing is going to continue higher. Looking at the code, I have no reading yet. See how it's dipping back down? I am looking at the code. See how it's dipping back down? Why not just get out? Why not just, get out before it dips back down? Right? I am reading the code right now. There's no reason for me to do that. If you knew what the code was, you'd understand. Still reading it. I have no signal yet. No signal yet. I will get one. Okay. Again, the code is a little bit tricky. This is Sunday. Keep that in mind, everyone. This is Sunday. Sunday is not an easy day to read the code because it's a little bit tricky. It's not clear. But what I think I see is I think I see that it wants to continue to go higher and that it is acting a little bit strange, but the strangeness is pointing to the fact that it really wants to move higher, and that it is giving buy signals, but they are a little bit hard to read. I think that is the case. I'm not sure about that. I am hoping that it is going to continue to go higher and break that previous high right there on the 1 minute chart and do it relatively quickly, and then I'll place a break-even stop on it and let it go for 100 pennies. Otherwise, I may, since I have two codes back to back that I'm unsure about, I may go ahead and just play protective on this trade now. Matter of fact, where am I at now? Let me go ahead and do that now. There's no reason not to do that now. Because if it's going to go higher, it's going to go higher. If it's going to go lower, it's going to go lower. If it's going to go lower at this point, I don't want to be in the trade. So I will place a break-even stop now. Break-even stop is in place. Yeah, I think what the code was saying, it was acting a certain way where it really wanted to go up. And it was hard to read the buy entry. But I did get two of them. I wasn't sure about either one of them. But now I know I've got the right direction because it is doing what I thought the code said it was going to do, which was go up. So now I've got the right direction. I should be able to hold my the low is at 83. I'm in at 97, so I've got 14 pennies. My stop is 15 pennies above the low. That should hold.
unless it's going to come back and double bottom or something. And the upward trend you see here in the 10 minute is just going to continue. And the daily chart is just going to continue. And I probably could put a bigger exit than this than just 100 pennies, but when you get up here and you start topping like that, you never know where the top's going to be. So it's just best just to take profits, you know? And if you knew it was going to go $10 higher, you just put it $10 higher and just let it go. But the mathematics on 100 pennies is high. Anything higher than that, the mathematics gets less. So I'll just go for a high percentage trade. Even though that is breaking the previous high. The previous high on the daily. It's breaking it. But going with the code. Or I could just take 20 pennies if I wanted to. I mean, I just used a secret entry. And I didn't even do that. I got in on a break after what I thought was a secret entry. Secret code. But anyway, it's Sunday. I'll pause the video and I'll come back and show you what happened, the outcome of this trade, or update you if anything good happens, anything interesting. So I'll be back. You can see that it's moved up a bit. It did come down here. It went down to 105.04. And so it came pretty close to the stop, but my stop is at 98. So it came, what, 6 pennies from my stop? And then it just, well, you can see it for yourself, it just went up from there. Taking a look at the code is a little bit difficult to read, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm getting a buy entry. I'm getting a buy entry signal at 105.20. If I'm not mistaken, the code is a little bit difficult to read. But every single solitary time it gives me this, it goes up. It's just so, didn't I start this video off saying that this thing looks like it really wants to go up, and then it made that dip, and then I got in at the bottom of the dip, and now I'm holding it going up, right? I think that's how this all began. And here I am saying the same thing over again. I mean, it just really looks like it wants to go up. It's even giving signals to go up every time. I think it's going to run. I mean, this is unusual for Sunday, for it to act like this. You know, for all of you listening out there, the last time oil ran to $147, oh man. For those of you who have not seen that, because you came and watched oil, sometime after that, you haven't seen anything yet. You cannot yet imagine how active it will get. Even me, as good as I am and as good as I am at the code, you know what I have to switch to? 50-cent stops. I can't do it with 20-cent stops. It's just too tight. It'll move too much. But guess what? When I catch the right entry, I can hit $2, $3, $4, $5 exits, no problem. Quickly. I'm not talking about holding overnight. I'm talking about in an hour, in 2 hours, in 3 hours, in 4 hours, I'm out. For even $5 exits. Yes. Yes. Absolutely yes. With 50-cent stops. But there's no way I could play the market with 20-cent stops. No possible way. Impossible. Even 50-cent stops is thread the needle. But the amount of money that you'll be able to make, and using the code for your precision entries, you can really do there's a lot of money being made in oil around the world, okay, on many different levels. And I'm sure that you already know that. And you can cash in, so to speak. Of course, from my breaking news alert my last futures market breaking news alert, I did indicate what I believe the true nature of what's going on. That this is going to run, that it is going to make a top, and that the real opportunity is to short the top and write it down for a big, big, big profit. Now, oil, oil is not the best one to go with. Gold is much better, and you can use the code for on gold just like you can oil. Because gold is going to definitely drop out, but oil is this wild card where you never know what they're going to do with it. They could do too many possibilities that they could do with it. And why would they be interested in oil, not gold? Well, because oil has the ability to control the world economy, to maybe make it boom or to cripple it or to keep it under control so that it doesn't, even though it may start to go in terms of economics to a certain extent, they can keep it under control by suppressing it with oil. So it's this variable that they have, and I have no idea what their agenda is. I don't know if it's going to be to suppress or to boom or what. So there's no way for me to know that. It's a wild card that I cannot predict, that there's no history to go back to. And if there is, I'm unfamiliar with it, that's all. There probably is a history somewhere. I'm just unfamiliar with it. But gold, I am much, much more sure that it will take a big fall, a big tumble, $1,000 correction. Now, if oil moves up high enough, like, let me give you a scenario. The last high was 147. Let's say that everything starts to jump on, everything takes off, and all the commodities just shoot up in price. And let's say that oil jumps up to a quick $175 a barrel, breaks the previous high, shoots up even higher, goes up to 175, but does so in a relatively short period of time. And the macro code says short entry. By all means, I'm going to short it. And then I'll just kind of like play a waiting game. What does it act like? What does it do? What does the news start to come out and start to say? Is all of a sudden everything starts to do a 180-degree turnaround and oil just starts dropping out? Well, I'll just hold my short position and just let it go to see how current events start to unfold in the future, 6 months from then, a year from then, just to see. Most likely what would happen is that it's going to top, okay? And then it's going to make a huge drop over time, and it's going to bottom out at that drop after it made a big, big drop. And then it's going to bottom there, and it's going to shoot back up again all the way to about, let's say, 75% of the previous high of the complete top. So it's going to make this huge move back up. The last time it did it, it moved that back up from approximately $95. It went from 147, then it moved all the way down and bottomed at approximately 95. I don't have the chart here. This is all from memory. Maybe about 90, something like that. and then it bottomed and moved back up, and it moved up. Now listen to this carefully now. It moved back up from that bottom that it made from the top to the bottom, from 147 to about 95. It moved up $28 in one day. $28. So it went back up from like 95 to 123, something like that. And then it came down and just crashed. So if you caught the top and you were holding it, you wouldn't have gotten stopped out from a break-even stop. And it's not easy to catch that bottom, and it's not easy to catch the top right here. It's not easy. Those aren't easy to catch, but you can catch them with the code, of course. But you got to be paying attention to what's going on. But by all means, and chances are they will do the same thing. It'll be the same chart with gold, for instance, or with oil again in the future. Because you'd say, why is that? Well, why that is because let's just say this, that is what they deem to be the best mathematical model to do two things. Number one, to fake out as many people as possible. Number two, simulate trading. But that's one of the nice things about it, though. If you know about trading, you can use that to your advantage because they're simulating that. See, that's why oil is such a good instrument to trade. It was just light years ahead of the Forex. You couldn't do that stuff in the Forex. I'm sorry. You can't. With oil, you can. With gold, you can. You could be trading gold just as easily as you could be trading oil. The only thing with gold you have to do is change your stops. So, for instance, every tick, every penny is worth $10 in oil. Well, and every tick is 1 penny. Well, in gold, every tick is 10 pennies, and each penny is worth $1. So every tick is 10 pennies, but worth $10. So it's still $10 per tick. So instead of having a 20 penny stop, you have to have a $2 stop, and instead of having a 20 penny exit, you have to have a $2 exit. You just have to change the parameters, that's all. But it's the same exact thing. And gold's going to make a run just like oil. Will they make tops at the same time? I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know, though. We're kind of in uncharted waters. This has never happened before. I'm sure it's happened before. It's just that it hasn't happened like this before, where everything's on computer and everything. But it's happened before. I mean, commodities they've done this before in different ways. Now they have total control. Now we're just going to play this game with them and profit from it. And I'm going to teach you the game. It's a very simple game. It's just people don't wake up to it because they can't imagine that that's the game. How completely corrupt it is. Well, yeah. I mean, it sucks beyond belief. I'm just not sure what we're supposed to do about it. Not do anything about it or take advantage of it? I mean, there's the good things that you could do, right? They made a mistake. They're not perfect. Or maybe this was given to us so that we would have a way. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the answer is.
But you watch my Truth About Money video, and you understand the broader picture. It's not about money. It's about people and doing good, and good prevailing over evil. That's what it's about. I'm trying to read the code to see if a break is coming. I am unable to tell, but it does not look like a real double top to me. Using the code, it does not look like a real double top. Therefore, the chances are high that it will break. But I cannot tell that yet. I'm just saying, because it doesn't look like a double top according to the code, and it is at a top, that means that there's a high chance at that point that it's going to continue higher. Otherwise, the code would be saying it's going to come down, and I could short, for instance, or I could get out of this trade or whatever. What is the high, by the way? I don't even know. The high is 105.44, so we got a ways to go for that. I'm looking at the code. It's getting ready to break. The code supports a break. The code 100% supports a break. It looks like it's going to break according to the code. It'll probably pretend like it's going to come down a time or two first, and then break. I'll let you watch it. What am I running here? I am running 37 minutes, almost 38 minutes. I'll let you watch it. Once it breaks, it doesn't have very far to go to my exit. It could get there pretty easily. You know, I really should be going for 200 pennies. But I'll just... Why? Why should I be going for 200 pennies? Because, A, I've got an entry that seems to be maybe a right entry. It might not be. It could easily come all the way back down and come all the way back down to my entry, and maybe even go even lower. That could easily happen. But it could also easily just keep going higher. So since I've got a good entry where I could just hold it now and be safe, I don't have to worry about losing any money, I can just afford to hold it. Because if it does go higher, well, why might it go higher? Well, because of all this Middle East tension. Well, like for instance, I explained in my last video, The Truth About Money, that I don't even watch TV. So I don't even know anything about what's going on in the Middle East. I have no idea. I don't know if there's still a tension over there or if there's not tension over there. And I'm not really weighing that into this. What I'm weighing into this is that since that did happen and since it has run, it may do that again. It may run some more. Even if there isn't any Middle East tension, it may do it anyway. And people could use all kinds of excuses for that. They could say, well, they might think that there might still be some, or it might explode even bigger, or that this is getting out of control, or something. You know, whatever. I mean, you can always have speculation about everything. So that's what I'm weighing in. I'm not weighing on what's actually happening. I'm also looking at what it looks like. I mean, look at the daily. Look at the 10-minute. Look at the 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute hasn't broken out yet. If it does, then that's super bullish, obviously. The 10-minute is bullish. The daily is, you know, I guess that's bullish. It's straight up. I like to catch them down here and then ride them all the way up, if you can. If you let's say you did catch it down here, okay, and you were in right here. I think maybe I was. I'm not sure, but I think maybe I was down there and I did catch it. And let's say that all this Middle East tension was happening, and you were looking at this more of a longer term aspect of it. You were trying to catch a big trade, and you thought to yourself, what if this global, what if this Middle East tension started to like get even worse or something, and started to really heat up in the news and everything? I mean, maybe oil would take off, and you just decided to hold it, and maybe you did hold it, and maybe you still have it held, and maybe now you're thinking, wow, this has actually got some some wheels to it. I mean, who knows where this thing might go? And now you're going to try to hold for a huge profit of like 150, try to get out at 150 or something. I mean, hey, I'm sure there are people who did that. I'm talking about regular, normal people like you and me, not like people who are in the know. Is this thing breaking out yet? Let me take a look at the code. Cannot tell yet. But I can just tell, and you should be able to tell from what you're being able to see here, how bullish it is. I mean, just a chart player would look at it and say, well, of course, the chart shows that. And it does. It absolutely 100% does. And the code was able to get me in here at 190. 197 or 104.97. So where's that at? That's high. See, I got in late. I got in late. It's because I couldn't tell if the code was saying up or down when it was down here. I couldn't tell. I thought it was up, but I wasn't sure. If I could have told, then I could have bought earlier. Instead, I took the break. Which most of you who know me, you know me from my trading room, and you know me from my videos, that I don't do that very often. Why did I do it this time? Middle East tension. Or just this thing keeps just wanting to go higher. That's why. I figured if it was going to take off, I didn't want to miss it, right? According to the code, did it just break? Yes, it did break. Does the code support that? Yes, it does. The code supports it. It looks like it's going to run. It looks like it's going to run according to the code. Now, this thing could easily get me out up here for 100 pennies pretty quickly. It's just a matter of, is this thing on a Sunday? What's the chances of it? Well, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that before on a Sunday. Actually, no, it did happen. Like 2 weeks ago, 2 Sundays ago, this happened. But it did something different. It gapped up. It gapped up really big too. If I remember right, let me think about this. Yes, I forget how much it gapped. And then I tried to short it. In the normal Sunday code, I lost. I tried to short it again, and I lost. And the thing just took off. Well, that was like the first time in, since I can remember, really, since that trade has not worked. I should not have lost $1 on it, though. I should have only lost 50 cents instead of $1. So, but here's my point. It took off on Sunday. And here we are Sunday again. It's possible this thing could take off again on Sunday. I forget how much it went up that day. It went up quite a bit. So I'm thinking to myself, should I just have this 100 penny exit? Because my exit's right up here. I mean, this thing could really get going.
At the same time, see, this is also what I'm thinking. My exit is right up in the area where this thing may come back down. It may shoot up there really high, come back down, and give a really good entry down lower where I could get back in again. But then again, I'm taking a major risk by getting out so early because this thing could just take off. Look what it looks like on Sunday. You don't see this very often. In fact, you never see this. Let me just take a look and see if I see some news out there. Make sure that, something big hasn't happened. I don't really see anything. Okay, reading the code. The code still supports higher. Now, if it comes close to my exit and the code says it's going to go down, I'm going to get out. And as a matter of fact, I might even go ahead and short. But make no mistake. Right now is not the time that you want to think about shorting. You want to think about where to get in to go long and how high do you ride it for. Then when you get back out, where do you get in to go long and how high do you ride it for? You don't think about shorting right now. You're on the wrong side. There will come a time when every trade will be a short, but not right now. Every trade is a long right now. Looking at the code, how much further we gotta go? I'm exit is at 97. It's likely to go to like 95 and not 97, so I'm probably going to adjust it if it gets up there. But it may not do that, and it may just show that it's going to just continue to trend higher, at which point I'll just go ahead and hold it. But if it spikes up there, I'll get out. Looking at the code still, like for instance, the code would not support shorting it right here. The code still says it's possible it's going to move higher. The chances of another run are way too high. What's the previous high? Let's take a look. The high is 105.65. That's the high. I needed to go 30 more pennies above the high for my exit. Okay, so like for instance, I'm losing money as this thing's coming down, right? Well, how do you know whether to stay in or not? Well, I'm looking at the code, reading the code, trying to get a reading. And first of all, just keep in mind something. From everything that you're seeing, from this being a Sunday, and from the 10-minute chart, and from the daily chart, and from the 1-minute chart of it just breaking out of its previous high, this is not a time to start getting scared and try to get out for less than 100 pennies, because 100 pennies is even kind of not enough to go for. In other words, mathematically, I should be able to get that 100 pennies. No problem. Reading the code. Trying to read the codes, not getting a signal yet. it's probably going to continue to do what it has been doing and barely give me any kind of a signal at all, but the signal will, I think, it be up. I'll bet you anything that that's what's going to happen. Look, okay, those of you who know the code, look at it. What does it look like to you? Is it coming down? No. Is it just sitting up here at the high? Yes. What does that generally mean? It's going to go higher. It's in trend mode. Right? Right. But we don't have confirmation of that with the code yet, just with the action. That's what it looks like. So now we're waiting on the code. What does the code say? Can we get any kind of a confirmation with that? Will the code help us? Show us. Give us confirmation. I am looking. What was the previous high? 65, right? Yeah, 65. 65. I still cannot tell. Got no signal yet. No signal. I got no signal, but it looks like it's in trend mode to me. It's going to go break 65. It's in trend mode. That's what it looks like. I have no signal yet. I think the signal is going to be trend mode, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Okay. Stand by. I'm getting a reading here. It's either going to break or it's going to go down. It's breaking. The next stop. Where did it go to? 68. Let's see if it wants that to be the high or if it's going to continue to go higher. Now let's see what the high is. Once it breaks that high again and goes higher than that previous high, 68, you know it's going to continue to go higher. Using the code. Otherwise it's going to come down. I think it's going to continue to go higher, but I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I'm not going to exit. Why? Most likely, what the code did is it gave a short signal, but it's not going to go down very much. It's just going to continue to go higher and move back into trend mode and go break the previous high. This is what it looks like. If you wanted to know how can you tell that, this is what it looks like. Be careful when you step in the way of a commodity that is moving on global political unrest and uncertainty. I mean, it's not really, it's controlled by a computer, but I'm saying the computer has or the people behind the computer, whatever, have every reason to make it move. You know what I mean? You don't want to get in the way of that. Looking at the code, I am uncertain. I would not. I could just tell you right now, you don't want to get in the way of the train. I'm just thinking to myself, should I pull my exit right here, or should I just keep it there? You know, I'm just gonna keep it there. Let me just, you know what? Forget about my exit. Let me just read the code and let the code tell me what I should do. You know what? Forget the code. This thing is, it's the train. Here comes the train. Okay, adjusting exit. Cell limit is at 105.97, modifying that to 106.97. 106.97. Modifying the exit to 106.97 now. Okay. Exit is now at 106.97. Okay. You do not want to get in the way of the train, and I am now not in the way. Looking at the code, let's see if we've got a train here or not. Where's my stop? Oh, I'm way down here. Okay. Lots of room. What does the code say? Are we getting ready to take off here and launch, or is this just a fake launch? Cannot tell yet. Look at the daily. You do not want to get in the way of that. No, no, no. That is a very bad idea. Alright, what's the high? What's the high? The high is 105.78. Attempting to read the code. Okay, so far it looks to be 100% in trend mode, and we are going to find out very shortly of confirmation of that. Once I get one more confirmation, I'm just going to let it go. That's it. That's all I need to see. This is the kind of mathematical chance I'm willing to take on 200 pennies, because the chances are relatively high. You don't get that many of these chances. So when they come along, you should recognize them and know when it's the right time to go for a big trade like that. They don't come around that often. You shouldn't push them all the time. 100 pennies is good enough. But when you see everything line up just right, and you think, wow, this looks like this could be one of those trades, by all means, go for it. You won't always be right, but you'll be right often enough to make it worthwhile to go for them. I mean, you know, look at the 10-minute. And this is where it opened. This is Sunday. This is part of Sunday, but look at it prior to that. And look at the daily. But by all means, of course, you can always use the code. See, there's getting close to where my exit would be. You can always use the code. I'm using the code right now. Stand by. It looks like it's in trend, 100%. It's running. This thing is on a full-on run right now, and it is using the code to do it with. It looks like the start of the train. That's what it looks like. But that train didn't happen until the Euro session. We are Sunday coming up into the Euro session. We're still hours away, and already this thing is active. I mean, it's like, wow. This thing could run huge. I mean, I could maybe should be putting my exit at like 110. And I might do that too. Let me see how it acts. See what it does. I'm looking at the code. You know, I'm looking at the action. And you know what the action says? Do not get in the way of the train. It's just starting off, but this is what the train looks like. This is what I stepped in the way a few times and got my head chopped off. And finally realized what was happening. I didn't realize it until then, that I was trying to short a train. And so I said, okay, well, hey, just go the other way. And I did, and 60 seconds later, or not that much longer, 3 minutes later, I was out. Okay, using the code, I do have buy entry. I do have buy entry. I would try to buy at 74 or 75. Let's see if you'd get filled at 74 or 75. Let's say 75. Let's see if you'd get filled. There's 75. There's 74. But I think you'd get in right there. Yeah, you'd be in now. The code says it's going to move higher. It may move down a little bit more though. It may come down to about 60. So this thing's real, a little bit squirrely, which is further indication. This is Sunday, guys. This is Sunday. Look at it. Look at the way it's moving. Look at the way it's trading. Rest assured, it's going to move higher. This is what it looks like when it's not moving down. It's just consolidating. It's getting ready to move up, but it's not really consolidating. But it's simulating that. And this is the simulation. This is what it looks like when it's simulating consolidation, and it's going to move higher. I do believe the code says it's going to move higher. It's a little bit tricky, but I'm starting to see what it's doing, and I can see it a little bit better now. And it says it's going to move higher. Plus, I keep telling you about the consolidation. This thing is going to take off. This is what it looks like when the train. You do not want to get in the way of this thing. I can't believe it even looks like this on Sunday. What's the high? 91. I mean, when it breaks again, it's just another more confirmation that it is lookout above time. You want to be long, not short. This thing could really take off here. Look at the action. What am I running? 104. Okay, taking a look at the code. All I see is the last one was a buy entry. That's it. It looks like it's going to run. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like it's going to run again. The next stop would probably be somewhere around, where to go to? 105.90. Actually, and 105.90 is an area where it would bounce off of and come back down. So if when it goes up and it breaks through that 105.90 again, that is a major, major, major bullish sign. Especially if it does so relatively soon, like within, let's say within an hour. Attempting to read the code. I have no signal yet. When you see this thing is acting the way that it is, the one thing that you don't want to let yourself do is get shaken out. You're up a lot of profit. You don't want to see that profit go away, but there's a time to hold. And when you see something like this, these are one of those times that you want to hold it and go for it. Just don't go for it too much. I mean, okay, let's say that you got it down here and now you change your plan. You want to get out at 150. Okay, no problem. Just make sure that when 150 comes, you get out. And let's say you change your plan to 175 when it gets to 150. That's fine. But just make sure that when it doesn't hit 175 and it only goes to 160 and then it goes back down and it's down to 130, that you get out. And when it goes down to 120, you get out. When it goes down to 110, you get out. At some point, you take your profit. In other words, you plan your trade and trade your plan. Don't get stuck. Take your profits. At the same time, don't get scared either. Plan your trade, trade your plan. If you change it, that's fine. Just make it that your plan now and stick to it. If you change it again, that's fine. Just always make sure that at all times you have a plan in place and you know where your exit's going to be. You're going to get out somewhere and take profit. Trying to read the code. I still have no reading. I'm going to pause the video for the sake of time, and I will come back as soon as something starts to really happen. Pausing the video now. You see how got a red bar on the daily starting. Look at the 1 minute. Looks like it could start dropping. I am not exiting the trade. I am using the code. The code has not given me a signal yet. I will not get out of this trade until the code tells me to. If it says it's going to go down, I'll maybe get out. Or if it says it's going to go up, then I'll just know that I'm staying in and it's going to continue to go higher. But if you go by the chart, you might get out here. And I don't think that this is the top. But I'm not going to go by the chart either, or by what I think. I'm going to go by what the code says. I still have not gotten a signal yet, but when I do, I will let you know. Pausing the video.
Okay, it is starting to move up here. I am looking at the code. The code is supporting a break. It's not saying that it's going to break. It's supporting that the break is very possible. It's not saying it will. It's saying it's possible. Okay, let me put this another way. Let's say I wasn't in, and I was wondering if I should get in. Well, if the code is supporting a break and it does break, you can take that break, and it very well could be a good trade. It's not a secret code trade, but it's a way to use the secret code in a different way. It's still supporting it. That it that the break is a good chance of it right now. Right now, I would say there's about a 50% chance of it breaking. The high is 91. There's a 50% chance right now. I'll call it out. 91 is the high. The code does not say it's going to go down. There is a 60% chance of a break. %60 chance of a break coming. %55 chance. Reading the code. %55 chance of a break. Reading the code. 60% chance. Back to 55. Remember, 91 is the high. Reading the code. %50 chance of a break. At this point, if it does go up and break, this could be a big break by the way it's acting. It's really putting on a really good act right now. I can't tell what it's going to do yet. 11 pennies up is the high. Would have to make a big, not a big move, but attempting to read the code. %40 chance of break. %50 chance of break. can. Look at the chart though. You just, the code is, look at the code with the chart. 50% chance of break. Okay, this is an interesting situation. I have no signal. And what's it doing? Okay, for those of you who know the code, I have no signal. What's it doing? Is it going to start coming down now? Don't bet on it. And if it does, all it's going to do is provide another long entry again. Otherwise, the code would have said it's going to go down. You see? See how we can just use the code like that? It constantly always tell us what it's going to do, give us clues. If it was going to move down, the code would say it's going to go down. Hasn't said that. So it's just moving down and it's going to provide another long entry again. Or it's not even going to do that. It's just going to sit up here until it just breaks that high again of 190 or 105.90, which may not even take very long. Or time will go by, maybe, 5 minutes or half an hour or an hour or whatever, however long it takes, and it'll give us a short entry. But the code hasn't said it's going to go down, so the chances of it going down aren't very good. So, just going to hold it. I'm going to pause the video, and I will come back as soon as something starts to happen. I am back here. You can see where the price is. It's at 105.75, and you can see that my stop is at a break-even stop of 104.98. I'm just leaving that in place. It was close to 100 pennies when it got up to here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave for a little bit, because I'm going to go to dinner. And I'll be back in maybe an hour or so, and I will update you as to what has happened at that point. I do have a 200 penny exit in place at 106.97. I'm going to leave it there. And I'll be back in just a little while to update you. Pausing the video now. I am back now. As you can see, oil has moved up from where I last left off. I am trying to read the code. I am not sure about this, but it is possible that it's starting to get toppy up here. It might be. I can't say for sure whether it is or whether it isn't. So I just think it's prudent to go ahead and start locking some money in now. So my entry is at my entry is at 104.97. So let's say 105.97. 105.97 puts me right Well, it puts me right within the trading range of where it currently is, unless it breaks out here. But still, there's nothing wrong with locking in 100 pennies. Especially now, it looks like it's gonna go break. Okay, changing the 106. Preparing to change the stop to 105.97. 105.97 to lock in 100 pennies. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. Changing to stop to lock in 100 pennies at 105.97. Changing it now. Stop has been modified to 105.97 to lock in 100 pennies. My exit is up here at 106.97 and it just broke. Where are we at? 28 was the high. What's the high now? The high now is 32. Got a ways to go. So it's either 100 pennies or it's 200 pennies. One of the two. No way for me to know which one it'll make it to first. But this trade now gives me the chance to for sure lock in 100 pennies and to have the possibility of making 200. And with a daily chart like that, it's very possible that I may. So I'm going to pause the video for a little bit and I will update you shortly. As you can see, it is coming back down and I am using the code right now and I can see that there's a very high degree of chance that it is going to go down right to where my stop is and get me and then go right back up again. So naturally what I'm thinking is to pull the stop. But this is one of those times where you may want to just not do something like that and just go ahead and let it hit your stop and take your 100 pennies. You know, it's just, because like, yes, it may go higher, but it may come down too. I mean, there's no way to for sure. It may come down, let's say, 75 pennies and dip down to here or so before it moves back and goes back up again. Or, you know, let's say come back down to here or something, and before it moves back up again. And then all kinds of things could change between now and then. So it could continue down. There's just no way to know for sure. The code's just going to tell you short term. So I'm just going to let it come down and hit me and take me out and take my 100 pennies. I'm not even going to think twice about it. Just a successful 100 penny trade. I wasn't expecting to make 100 pennies on Sunday anyway. I mean, you can see right there in the 10-minute, you know, how I'm getting out at a bad spot. You know what I mean? But it's just circumstances. What am I supposed to do? I could change my mind and pull that and take less and then get stuck in a position where I have to take less and less and less because I'm trying to let it go, but it's just not going, and all of a sudden it returns and it goes back down. You've got to you always want to try to go for something, but at the same time you always want to lock in some profits. Now if you're trying to make it and you get it up over it, don't let a 100 penny profit go away. And I'll tell you something, it's going to come and get your stop a lot of times, and it's going to go back and take off. Who cares? Let it do that. Because it's better to miss out on 100 pennies than to lose 100 pennies. To lose out on 100 pennies. And who knows? I mean, I might even get lucky, and it might not even hit my stop, and it may take back off again. But if it doesn't, 100 pennies is in the bag. I'll go ahead and pause the video and come back as soon as it either hits my stop or goes back higher or something. Pausing the video now. I've been in situations like this before, exactly like this, where, you want to pull it, and then if I pull that stop so it doesn't get hit, and then it goes down, and I have to settle for 50 pennies instead of a 100 penny exit. Or just as easily, it'll come down and get my stop and then turn back around and go back up again, and I'll miss it going up. Now I would rather miss it going up for the 200 penny exit than to let go a 100 penny profit. So that's my logic. And that's what I'm going to do, and that is why I'm not going to pull that stop. Plan your trade, trade your plan, and have the discipline to do that. Pausing the video. But I would like to point out that technically I have my stop in a very, very, very bad place. It's like what a terrible place to put your stop, because it's right within the trading range right there. You don't want to keep your stop out of that range because it's likely to go up and down until it breaks one way or another. And I've got my stop right there at the very bottom. It's like a terrible place to put it and to get stopped out. But I don't care, because I got 100 pennies locked in, and I don't care. I could take 90 if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm just gonna take my 100. One more successful trade. And then the challenge is to go in and go make another successful trade and another successful trade. Just keep doing that. Don't need to score a home run on every trade. And hey, 100 pennies is a good trade anyway. There, I'm out. Now watch it just come right down to my stop and go right back up again, just like I said, but I don't care. Or watch it come down, and I'll be glad that I just got out, right? Either way, it doesn't matter. What matters was knowing what the initial entry was, which was way down here. It had gone right up back to here, and I thought the code said it was going to go higher, but wasn't sure. I took the break, and then it just kept going higher. Another successful trade. It's Sunday, and I'm going to go relax now, call it an evening, and I'll get this video uploaded to YouTube. And I just came out, looked at it on Sunday, and just was like, wow, this thing really looks like it wants to go up. So I jumped in, made a successful trade. Got it on video. Anyway, I'll be back with many more videos to come. Talk with you soon.